Love blessings. This is Kaylin Castell with a look at the Leo new moon happening on July 24th, 2025. And we could sum it up by saying healthy self-love changes the world, and we'll see why that is in a moment. You can see this is a star map of where the sun and the moon will be at the new moon. And even though this is in the sign of Leo, it's in the constellation of the Crab, as is Mercury in the sign of Leo, in the constellation of the Crab at the time of this exact new moon. And this is the one of the bases of this really is that the constellations are the starry backdrop that the seasonal signs move through. And what's interesting is that uh, if we look at we have the summer solstice here on the hand of Orion. Venus is inside the horns of the bull, but it's in Gemini. Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, but it's in the constellation of the twins. And that's because the zero Cancer point or the June solstice point is located in this part of the sky. So this is where the sun is rising at the time of the June solstice. And in the northern hemisphere, our longest day; in the southern hemisphere, their shortest day. So the signs again, once again, the signs are seasonal. I know I say this all the time, but you cannot hear it too many times. It really helps to get the difference between the constellations and the signs. And we're going to look at the energy of the crab and how this new moon is in that constellation and what that might be bringing through. So I thought I'd start with this quote from Krishnamurti, who wrote a book called Freedom from the Known. And he says, love is something that is new, fresh, alive. It has no yesterday and no tomorrow. It is beyond the turmoil of thought. Love just is. Ugh, I think it is another way to sum that up. Love just is. And in a Leo new moon, it's time to be about the love, vibrate with love, love yourself, love the world, love the people around you, and we can change the world through the power of love. So, this is the archetypal essence of Leo. Just a few points so we can kind of get a sense of the energy that's being present at this new moon and what we're seeding into at this time. So, Leo has to do with radical, radiant, healthy self-love. It has to do with being highly creative, visionary, and bold, that fire energy of Leo uh, is willing to and loves to take action. It's courageous, confident, charismatic, magnetic. So when Leo is healthy, these are the energies that are very present in that healthy expression of Leo. It's also about being assertive and bringing self to greater visibility in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a large stage uh, to be really expressing Leo energy, but it's not about hiding either, hiding in the shadows. And we're going to talk about the shadow because Pluto is involved with this new moon. So it's also the creator or creatrix as the embodiment of creativity, the king, queen, leader, the corporate visionary. It can be very Leo energy. The brilliant coach of a team or an activist leader shining light into the shadow. So we may all see the level and to see the light and reveal what is in the dark. And it's being cosmic visionary, seeing beyond the known. So plus we're going to have Pluto opposite in Aquarius opposite. So definitely going to be seeing beyond the known in this Leo new moon. So these are just a few of the energies that we can tune into in connection with that. And as I've been doing these new moon videos over this last year, I've been bringing in the Clanmothers from Jamie Sam's book, The 13 Original Clanmothers. And this is just a very condensed version of it. Highly recommend the book. If you haven't gotten it, you might want to get it because it's just brilliant. And this is the clan mother that has to do with loves all things. So how perfect is it that it's the July new moon in Leo and it's the clan mother that loves all things, which is so connected to the Leo mysteries. So her color is yellow. She represents loving the truth found in all life forms. She teaches us the wisdom of nurturing compassion towards self and others. She shows us that every action of physical life is as sacred as our spiritual growth. They are the same, they're one and the same. And she teaches us to honor the pleasure of being human. Oh, so good because I think sometimes it's a little bit challenging given whatever might be going on in our lives at some time, that this is a gift that we have been given to be human. And she's about finding joy in physical life without trying to escape our pain by being addicted to false pleasures and compulsive behavior patterns. This one's really significant because we can see that oftentimes we're so uncomfortable, or we can see people that are in the spotlight on the world stage that are very uncomfortable with who they are. So they are falling into trying to escape their pain and getting into addictive patterns and compulsive behaviors. So she holds the wisdom of allowing and does not smother her children or impose rigid rules. This is so good because I think we've come from a culture. I know I was raised with a lot of rigid rules, and I wasn't necessarily smothered, but I was definitely a child who had to follow the rules, and if I didn't, the punishments were harsh. So moving beyond that, moving to a place where we can have greater kindness and compassion for what it is to be growing up and learning how to be human, whether we're children or whether we're adults raising children or whether we're grandparents with children or whether we're just being our adult selves and we're still all growing up in some way. So this clan mother is summed up in these words by Jamie Sam. She says, Mother, show me how to love beyond my human fear. Teach me all the joys of love behind the veil of tears. Teach me all the joys of life beyond the veil of tears. We could put love in there too. Let me find the pleasure of a lover's gentle hands. Let me know the wisdom of respect without demands. O keeper of forgiveness, teach me how to see beyond the petty judgments supporting human dignity. I will learn your medicine of mother, lover, friend, teaching others how to love and broken hearts to mend. So this is just a beautiful way to sum up this new moon energy and something to just keep in mind as we connect with this energy today. So here's the chart along with uh, um, the where the sun and the moon will be in the constellation of the Crab, and you can see that Pluto is opposite the sun and the moon, the exact oppositions coming shortly after the exact new moon when the sun and the moon are conjunct. Now, many ancient cultures would consider the sun and the moon to be the new moon to be when you can see that first crescent moon. And in this case, by then, the moon would probably be like sitting between the lion and the crab the next evening when we can see that first crescent. And so it'd still be in the seasonal sign of Leo. So it'd still be a Leo new moon, but just a couple days later, at least 24 hours later. Since this is happening at 12:11 p.m., 24 hours later would be the next day, July 25th, which happens to be the Mayan day out of time. Also the day when Sirius is rising with the sun um, on the horizon line. If you have a low horizon line, some people might be able to see that. And here's Sirius in alignment. It's coming into alignment with Jupiter. Jupiter at 10 degrees Cancer, Sirius at 14 degrees Cancer, Hades, um, we could say the Greek version of Pluto, at 14 degrees Cancer. So this energy is very big in this at this time in connection to Sirius, that's also like 14 degrees Cancer, but you can see that they're not very close together. They're just zodiacally aligned. And in August, Venus is going to catch up to Jupiter at 14 Cancer in alignment with Sirius, something that hasn't happened in at least 100 years, and it'll be at least 100 years before it happens again this precisely. The other thing to note is that Neptune and Saturn, I'll share more about this as we go, are trine the sun and the moon. And so this gives us another sense of what's happening to this, and I'll share more as we go. So the ancient Egyptians saw the constellation of the crab as a scarab, and it had associations to Kefri, the god of the rising sun and bringer of life. So here there's a crop circle that happened some years ago that was in the exact same shape of the scarab. And then here's just some jewelry, ancient jewelry expressions of the scarab that connects with the sun. So scarabs were popular amulets for protection and good luck, indicated by the many thousands of small scarabs that have been found throughout archaeological sites in Egypt. And the scarab lays its eggs, rolls them up into a ball, keeps rolling them for like 29 days, and then offers it up into toward the sun. So that is, and they're very much considered a symbol of good luck. And 29 days happens to be, it's 29 and a half days before the next new moon. So we have this 29 days to really seed our intentions around greater love. Now, the seasonal sign of Leo, as I've already mentioned, is overlaying the crab constellation. And we could say that the main stars of the crab are located from 4 degrees Leo to almost 14 degrees Leo. So, a question to consider is, how is the crab informing the season of Leo? So, there are two different things. One has to do with the stars, and the other has to do with our experience of the seasons, the length of days, the length of nights, the what time of year is it for us? And for those of us in the northern hemisphere, we're moving from summer into fall when the sun is with the crab. So something to keep in mind is that the crab carries its home on its back, and it has strong links to the mother goddess. So we could imagine the crab as reminding Leo of the importance of genuine, nurturing, wholehearted self-love while co-creating ways for others to feel safe and showing up and being who they truly are. And I love these lions are exploring this crab on the ground. And it's like, okay, so how is the crab seeing the mysteries of the Leo season, and how is the Leo seeing the mysteries of the crab? So we could say this another way. We could say, when healthy, the crab and Leo energies work together to create an environment where it is safe to show up and shine in ways that are supported, accepted, valued, without the worry of getting in trouble with those who feel threatened and are acting out of jealousy and insecurity. And this is something that the Clanmother of this Leo new moon speaks into as well. So it's just all fitting together in such a beautiful way. Now, this Leo new moon is trine Saturn and Neptune. Saturn being about form and how we structure and how we experience this reality. Neptune being about the formless and how we can vision and dream and bring those visions and dreams from the formless pure source energy into form. So they're working together at this new moon to uh, energetically connect the power of love to enhance our visions and dreams and then gently bring them into form. And so when we see that the form and formless are actually connected, interconnected with each other, this is the opportunity we have. Now, this new moon opposite Pluto is a time to feel what we feel, embracing our shadow side, the part of us we've disowned or denied or didn't know was there, had no awareness of. It doesn't mean we've purposely disowned it or denied it. We just didn't even know that it was there. So this is the alchemy that can occur, and our wounds are transformed into our strengths when this alchemy happens, when we're able to really embrace and bring the shadow to light. So when we have the courage to take the deeper dive into the shadow within each of us, then we can let go of the limiting beliefs that hold us back and bring forth the gifts that have been hiding in our subconscious, or maybe we've been somewhat aware of them but not fully aware of them, or we haven't known how to bring them forth. This is the time to really consider, how would we bring these forth? How would we bring these energies into the greater light so that they can have a manifestation. And what I love about this image of Pluto is that it's got a heart shape here. It's maybe not the best view of that heart, but it's like, okay, it's about the heart. And Pluto is always here to empower, but oftentimes we have to face the things that disempower us first in order to transmute and transform them so that we can experience the empowerment that Pluto has for us. So this is something very connected to this full moon. Now, a few days after the full moon, the moon is going to go on and pass Regulus on July 26th, and July 27th it's approaching Mars, and on July 28th it is with Mars. In fact, I think it's going to occult Mars on the 28th, and we're maybe not visible all across the planet, but it's going to be very close to Mars. So it just depends on your time zone, where you're located, all of that. Now, what's interesting about the moon and Mars conjunctions, especially when they're in the evening sky, is that this is representative of the tests and trials that the divine masculine is going through in its initiatory journey. And so this is the sixth time that the moon has met with Mars, and that's happening on July 28th. And in the labors of Hercules, or the tests that Hercules had to go through and pass the trials, we could say that we could look at the sixth labor of Hercules and get a sense of what was going on. And he was required to drive away a huge flock of Stymphalus birds that were plaguing the people. And these birds had bronze beaks and metal feathers that could be launched like arrows, so they were very dangerous. They also had poisonous dung that was polluting the land, so it was killing off the plants and the trees and things in the land where they were uh, living, I suppose, or roosting or whatever they were doing. So Athena, the divine feminine, comes and helps Hercules scare off the birds by providing him with a noisemaker that is so loud and so intense that it scares the birds away. And then as they're flying off, he shoots many of them with poisoned arrows, and the rest, the ones that escaped, didn't return. It was like now they're gone. They know this isn't a place for them, and that's pretty amazing. So we can see here's Mars very close to the moon on July 28th at 11:42 a.m. is their exact conjunction. So that's why this is in the USA. So it won't be seen here in this part of the world, but North, Central, and South America might see some, and Western and Central South Africa and some of Antarctica will see some of this moon occultation. Now, an occultation means the moon covers and then uncovers a planet or a star, similar to an eclipse. So it's amplifying and supercharging the energy of that. Now, by the evening time, you can see that by the time the sun sets, the moon is not quite as close to Mars as is here at the time of the exact conjunction at 24 Virgo. Now, what's interesting about this point in the sky is that the September equinox is in this area of the sky. It's between the head of the Virgin Priestess or the Star Priestess constellation and the tail of the lion. And that's where the sun will be on September 22nd of every year, or September 21st, 22nd, whenever it reaches that zero Libra point. Now, Hercules was successful in eliminating the menace of the metallic birds, and he was saving the people of Arcadia and restoring peace to the land. So that was the gift that he brought by going through this test, by going through this trial. And so, what's interesting too is that the story goes on to say that after some of the birds were that escaped later were encountered by Jason and the Argonauts on the island of Aretius at the using sea. So the story of Hercules and the Stemphalon birds highlights the importance of masculine and feminine resourcefulness, the power of divine assistance, and the triumph of order over chaos in Greek mythology. So just to keep in mind, this is also happening within a few days after the exact new moon. And just some dates to consider as we move from the new moon on the 24th is that there's actually on the 22nd, Eris is going retrograde. I'll put links into the videos I've done myself and then with others on Eris and Chiron, because Chiron's going retrograde on the 30th, and Venus is entering Cancer and will be exactly at that June solstice point uh, that we talked about earlier, and so it's moving to be between the bull and the twins at zero Cancer. That's where the sun rises at the June solstice. And then on July 31st, the sun is going to conjunct Mercury retrograde in Leo. And this is considered to be the time of its cazimi, high magic. It's not visible, it's not something you can see, but you definitely can tune into. And then we have a lot of things happening in August, and I'll share more about that. So stay tuned because we have the Venus, Jupiter, and Sirius conjunction happening on August 11th as Venus is, or as Mercury is stationing direct. And we have the Aquarius full moon on August 9th, and stay tuned for a video coming on that. And so there's just so much amazing energy happening as we move past this new moon. And I just really wanted to end with this idea that love is the answer. Love is the answer to all that is going on in the world right now. Fighting it, resisting it, all of those things that they can be useful and maybe helpful, and maybe that's a path for people. But if we can approach it from a place of love, that's going to have so much more power and can transform and change everything. And I think this is a supercharged new moon with Pluto opposite, helping us to see the shadow, see what needs to be loved into being. And also the Neptune Saturn trine helping us to see how we can create a new, more loving world. So that's the opportunity that we have at this new moon. And again, check out the show notes for videos that will take a deeper dive into some of the things I'm mentioning here.